very demure, very mindful.
Awesome. Thanks, Allie. Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to be here to talk about digital culture, social culture, and how we're going to claim space amongst the wild world of trending topics. So let's get into it and start with a provocative statement. We love our brands, but brands actually don't create culture. The people do. Don't panic. Before we all quit our jobs, let's talk about what this means and how what involvement brands do have in trending digital social culture. Year on year, just to zoom out, traditional advertising viewing figures have dropped. The medium itself has gotten more global, more universal, and as a result, safer, a little less culturally relevant as a result of that scale. And we would argue maybe a little bit boring. Sorry to all of our TVC advertisers out there. Social has now become the true home of entertainment that arguably advertising once was. There are 5 billion people's eyeballs chronically online, including my own. And digital online culture is now quickly becoming sort of the center point of mainstream culture. So sort of social out versus TVC down. And so we'll talk about a little bit of what that means, what the implication is. Largely, this is due to social trends. People and users of social platforms are feeling increasingly able to participate, feel more visible. It provides everybody a platform to express themselves and add commentary to the world around them and just be the main character of their own lives. And so just to give you a sneak peek behind the curtain here at Depth, this is one of our creatives' iPhone notes apps of basically trying to keep track of the wild world of trending topics in 2024. So the list is long and ongoing. This is a full-time sort of endeavor to keep on top of. And brands know this and are following suit. They're keen to be part of the conversation, earn the eyeballs, build their own relevance by jumping onto trends, but we'd argue with mixed levels of success. So let's kind of break that down. Trends often start cute, like our beloved corn kid. If you are not familiar, it's a good one to look up. And quickly then sort of the UGC community, the organic social community comes in, creates their memes, creates conversation, really picks it up and runs with it in many different and hilarious ways. Which inevitably will get celebrity and traditional media coverage. They're on the talk shows. We see them on the Today Show, and it sort of is that social out engine taking hold. And last but not least, our beloved brands come in and move the trend into cringe territory, especially when a social trends move into some above the line advertising without sort of a fine-tooth comb on it. So we'd say in 2024, brands have been really trying to chase the trend algorithm faster and faster. And we sort of see this like suffocation of trends becoming part of the culture. The life cycle of trends is much faster and is moving at just exponential speed. Some brands, it makes sense to sort of jump on these things, and some feels a little silly and potentially just too surface level to really participate in a meaningful way. Successful brands on social are doing something much different in which they're sort of creating their own universes, or as we like to call them, social cosms. So what does this mean apart from sounding really nice and fancy in a trend deck like this? So let's break it down. First things first is the brands that are really successful in social know who they are and they stay true to it. Like the example of Ryanair. They're cheap. What else do you expect from them? It's really permeates every single thing that they do and is like that red thread through all their social content and conversation, and any trends that are related to this makes sense for them to jump on because this is so consistent. Or they built a community around themselves, like Stanley Cup, who have built this cult fandom around this old product that's been reinvented with the right audience. And this is really thanks in part to the creator partnerships that they've developed, who make it their own, add their own accessories, have their own Stanley collection. And it's a thing that has really catapulted this brand to great success. There's so many great examples, but I think some of the things that we like to think about are brands that don't hard sell or try too hard. They own their faults and weaknesses, and they're very transparent in that way. They get out of their own way, and they don't let sort of corporate dictate what their brand looks and feels like in social. They let social do its thing and kind of try something new in this space. So what does that mean for 2025? We expect these things to continue, but some actionable takeaways you can take forward in your own strategies. The first thing is don't try to be a tax app and be Nutter Butter. If you haven't seen what Nutter Butter is doing on TikTok, I highly recommend you go and check it out. It's quite unhinged, but exciting. So we are advising all of our clients always to sort of look in the mirror and be honest about what do people need from you and how are you going to give it to them? Is it product demonstration or one-on-one videos? Is it entertainment and a laugh in the newsfeed? How are you going to be adding value to the newsfeed for your audience? The second is brands finding their own people, thinking about long-term partnerships and really kind of cult followings and building that from the ground up. Creator partnerships are a great place to start, especially finding the right cast of creators who represent your brand and have sort of the freedom to really help make it their own. It will feel less try hard and more consistent and direct if you find these right partners who can help translate your brand into a social context. We're also seeing more sort of hybrid approaches to working with in-house teams, agency teams, external creator talent, the brands who are sort of trying out new models and ways of coming up with ideas for social are seeing great success. So think about how you can seamlessly integrate all these different brain spaces and power to do something really unique and special for your brand. And lastly, there's really no strategy in the world that's going to guarantee you success in social, no matter how much data or impact or information you have. Ultimately, it's less strategy and more risk, and that might mean more failure, but the faster you learn, the faster you can find the sweet spot that will work for your brand and your audience. So in summary, back to our provocative statement, we really don't believe that brands can create culture just on their own, but the brands that are behaving like their audiences or like people do in a social context can. And that's what we are excited to see happen in 2025.